Yo, it's your boy K-Side Cash, and today we are going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night, Gamrot Vs Salkilld. Now, I know I missed y'all boys last week, and I'm going to let y'all know that won't never happen again. Y'all already know how we do it. We're going to start our way from the bottom of the card, making our way to the top. And to be honest, guys, although there's not much name value and not too much implications as far as apart from the main event, I think this is going to be a pretty good fight card. There's some sleeper bangers, a couple things to be looking forward to, and let's get right into it. All right, guys, the first fight on the prelims is going to be taking place on the women's flyweight division, and guys, we have an absolute monumental banger for the curtain jerker. As you guys can see here, we have Juliana Killer Miller versus Ravina Oliveira. Now, as you guys can see, these fighters don't have too many differences. I'm going to keep this short and simple. I didn't even do too much tape study for this fight. Both of these fighters have very similar records, 5-4, 7-4. These fighters are both win-loss fighters. Ravina Oliveira has not even won one fight in the UFC. She's on a 3-fight losing streak, as you guys can see. And Juliana Killer Miller, 5-4, by the way, Killer Miller has one win in the UFC, and I'm like 90% sure it was a boring bullshit decision. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just keep this short and simple. I don't even want to do tape study, guys. I don't even want to subject anybody to tape study. This is probably gonna be the easiest and the fastest lock I'll probably ever do. I'm not hating on it just because it's women's MMA. Listen, guys, let's be serious. When have we ever sit here and said, oh my god, Juliana Killer Miller, man, Juliana Killer Miller, man, Ravina Oliveira, man, who's riding a 3-fight losing streak. Juliana Killer Miller flukes a win, basically riding a 3-fight losing streak too. I mean, if we're gonna sit here, her only win in the UFC is Ivana Petrovic, and if I'm not mistaken, Ivana Petrovic hasn't even fought in like a year or two. I don't even think she's an active fighter anymore. She's probably retired. And her record herself, I think, is like 7-4 or something like that. So we got cans crushing cans. Listen, come on, bro. This is Battle of Mid. Let's be serious. My pick for this fight and guarantee lock for this pick and fight is going to be Juliana Killer Miller by a crafty 29-28 split decision. Honestly, guys, we could just skip over this one. All right, y'all, now that we're done talking about that absolute bloodbath that's bound to happen, the next fights are going to be taking place on the prelim is going to be taking place in the featherweight division. As you guys can see here, we have Mike Johns versus Jesse Rosas. And if you don't know who Jesse Rosas is, he's the brother of Raul Rosas Jr. Cheewees! Now, as you can see, there's a couple stats here that are not listed for Jesse Rosas. I did try to go on the internet, go through Tapology, ESPN, but there was a couple things that are not listed. But as you can see through the statistics we see here, there is a nearly a 10-year age gap in this fight favoring Jesse Rosas, him being the younger fighter. He does have a lot less experience, you know, about maybe less than like 10 fights less, you know, or so than Mike Johns. And so he's a little green. But I do think he, obviously, his younger brother being in the UFC, he's absolutely around the UFC level talent. I'm not sure where his camp is and what his, you know, where his gym is, but I'm almost certain that he's probably been to the UFC PI. He's probably already been, you know, working with people in the UFC. So guaranteed he's had some level of experience, maybe apart from his level of competition. He only has one loss on his record, and it was actually in Uriah Faber's fighting league, which is probably like the pinnacle of his competition, you know what I'm saying, which is his only loss. He was a champion on the regional scene, which is really well. But, you know, I think he's a little green as far as, you know, level of competition. And Mike Johns, 15-5, he has a couple good wins, but he's riding a 3 losing streak. So we're seeing a couple fighters on this card, you know, going through the wins and losses, and you know, it's apparent what the UFC is trying to do with some of these fighters. They're clearly trying to build some of these fighters. We got a debuting fighter of Chiwiwis. You know, we'll probably hear a Chiwiwis out there. We'll probably see Raul Rosas Jr. out there. So yeah, I mean, as far as the tail of the tail, I mean, there's not much differences. You know, Mike, he's slightly shorter, obviously a little older. He's 32, but, you know, we usually say people in MMA, 32, 33, 34, you know, those are their prime years. But I say he's probably on the tail end of his career. I mean, he's riding a 3-fight losing streak. Although his record is pretty good, I mean, I just don't see any implications for him moving forward. I mean, if he could knock off a good prospect, that probably could help, you know, just get that monkey off his back as far as the losses. But this fight may not have much implications as far as, you know, moving forward in this division. But this should be a breakout performance for Jesse Rosas. All right, y'all. Y'all could call me a casual. His name is Miles Johns, all right? Let's not talk about it. I was rushing. I don't know why I put Mike, but it's all good. We're not even going to talk about it. His name is Miles, but you know what? For this instance, his name is Mike. I do not care. Miles Johns versus Jesse Rosas. Let's get into the breakdown. All right, guys. I think this is actually going to be a pretty good striking matchup. Aesthetically, I think that we're going to see some really good exchanges. Jesse Rosas, he's a very, like, composed striker. You know, he likes to rip 1, 2, 2, 2. You know, he likes to rip 1, 2, and then go to the body. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Miles, he doubles up on the jab and throws a looping shot. You know, he's very explosive. So the difference between these fighters is I feel like Rosas is very, like, precise. You know, he picks his timing a little better, whereas Miles, he's kind of a little buck wild, you know. He's more craftier, he's more explosive, you know. He's going to give you a front kick, you know, push you back, you know. He might run at you, throw a flying knee, you know, but he's very, you know, he is very susceptible to being hit. He's very open, you know. When he throws, you have this whole thing open, you know. Of course, you know, you have his hand to gauge the distance, but he's a shorter fighter, you know, and he doesn't have as much reach, you know, compared to somebody like Jesse, who's just a little taller, has just a little bit much reach, and can probably match the explosiveness, you know. Jesse Rosas is very calculated, you know. He likes to time his shots very well. He is one of those fighters where he'll pick you apart, you know, rip 1, 2, throw a little hook, go to the body once, twice, and then once you start getting a little bit of his rhythm, he gets close to you, he clenches you, he looks to take you down. He has a really, really good, like, just grappling game, you know, playing the ground very well, you know, in guard, playing your back, playing your side, your stomach, you know. He has a really good way of, like, taking you down and just grinding you out. He had a 5-round war where he ended up winning by submission against somebody, I believe Eduardo Mono. I'm not sure. I think it was, like, on UFC Fight Pass. They posted it not too long ago, actually. Really good fight. You guys should check it out. He showed, like, good cardio. He shows levels, you know. He's able to take it to the ground. He's able to, you know, show good submission threats, you know, and I think that's something that could be really a tail of the tail in this matchup. 2 of Miles' losses have been to submissions. The other 2 have been decisions, and one of them is a knockout. So 3 of his losses are finishes, and he's riding a 3-fight losing streak, you know. Now, I say that to say Miles has faced way better competition. This dude beat Adrian Yanez. That's a pretty freaking crafty, that's a really good win. Of course, it was not in the UFC. It was just right out the UFC, but still, that's a really good win. I mean, that's a relevant win, guys. Let's be serious. He beat Cody Gibson, who competed not too long ago. Cody Gibson's not the, like, let's be serious, it's not the best win in the world, but still, like, a crafty vet type of win. You know what I'm saying, guys? So, honestly, the compare and contrast in this fight is going to be the levels of experience, you know. Miles obviously faced way better guys. I mean, he faced Mario Batista, guys. Let's be serious. He gave Mario Batista a little bit of problems. If I'm not mistaken, he doubled up on a jab and threw a looping overhand and flash knocked on Mario Batista. So, like, there's a clear power there. Like, there's a clear event, like, examples of power. Now, the only thing I would say is that was at bantamweight. This fight is at featherweight. Of course, he might have the smaller man skill. He's older in a sense. 32 is not old in MMA standards, but as far as facing a 23-year-old being 32, yeah, you're looking at a kid who's, you know, 10 years younger than you, who probably have been doing the sport just like started at an earlier age than you. And, you know, MMA is a lot more well-rounded back then. MMA is a lot more well-rounded nowadays. Back then, it was a lot more like focused on different martial arts. You know what I'm saying? There was a jiu-jitsu practitioner, there was a kickboxer, there was a pure wrestler, there was a straight boxer, you know, and there was occasionally those guys that were well-rounded. But as you see the sport grow, it becomes one, you know. So you're facing explosive kids who can match your explosiveness. Like, don't get it twisted. Like I said, Miles Johns, he's very explosive. He has very like good fights against good people, you know, and he has been like on a good streak before. I mean, he had a draw in the middle of his streak, so if you X that out, he would have been on like a 4, maybe 5 fight win streak, which is not too bad in the UFC. Of course, it wasn't like the highest level of guys at that moment. Like I said, Mario Batista is arguably, I think Mario Batista beats everybody all these guys have fought, you know. So like that does hold some merit in the fact that he's able to give some problems to Mario Batista. Like, I do think that could impose some problems for Jesse Rosas, you know. Jesse Rosas coming in out of southpaw, I do think that is also going to be very like problematic for Miles Johns, because for somebody who's explosive crashing in, going in out of southpaw, if you're too explosive, you may just rush into a body kick. So let's say, you know, Miles John tries to circle out or feint left and take a hard step right, or vice versa, feint right, take a hard step left. More or less, I think right, if he goes right, he's very susceptible to a good liver kick, a good, just like even like a straight kick, you know, a good push kick. And Jesse has really good like forward pushing kicks. In his Mortal fight, he did accidentally get like a nut shot. No, did he? He hit the dude in the nuts or whatever, but it was like a good straight like popping kick, you know. Of course, a low blow, but if that would have hit, you know, like your mid area, maybe like solar plex, I could be saying the wrong area, I ain't no motherfucking doctor, right? Hit your mid area, you can crumble. And you know, for an older, I guess in this standard, in this fight, explosive guy, that may present him problems. Now, I do believe Miles Johns has a chip on his shoulder, coming off 3 fight losing streak, and you know, it's not the worst names, but still, just like him having that 3 fight losing streak, and you have a kid, he's my age by the way, 23 years old, a kid fighting, making his debut, already has a younger brother in the UFC, so obviously he's already had like some help, some pointer, some guidance, somebody in his corner saying, hey man, you know, when you hit the big stage, like, just so you don't be nervous, like having that versus already having experienced that, like it's kind of compare and contrast in their careers. And let's be serious, 15-5, is that really a bad record? Like, come on, guys, no. Maybe I overhyped it saying he's in the tail end of his career, but at the end of the day, like, there's obviously a compare and contrast between these fighters. And I think, like, to be fair, we could see Miles John win this fight simply off just just off crafty vetness. But, guys, my guaranteed lock and pick for this fight is going to be Jesse Rosas. I think he's going to get a 2nd round submission. I think Miles is maybe going to be able to weather the storm a little early, but I think Jesse is going to be able to find it. I think his corner, having his brother, Raul Rosas, let's be honest, he's kind of like a blanket. He freaking had a snooze fest against Rob Font, but clearly there's a clear path of victory against somebody like Miles Johns, who is susceptible to submissions. So, guys, with that being said, my guarantee lock and pick for this fight is going to be Jesse Rosas, 2nd round submission. All right, y'all. For the 3rd fight on our prelim card is going to be taking place in the lightweight division, guys. All right, y'all. As you can see here, we have Manuel Souza versus Richie Miranda. And to be honest, guys, these fighters are very similar as far as like statistics. Of course, there's some stats missing for Richie that we don't have them listed here. But as far as like age and height and just even records, they're actually very similar. Obviously, there's a slight reach discrepancy, you know, favoring Richie, but I think Manuel overall is just a better fighter in this fight. Richie Miranda, he's a good striker. Honestly, the thing I can say about Richie Miranda, he's like a very well-rounded fighter, but he's kind of very slow. He's a slow starting fighter. his level of competition that he's faced is like night and day difference. This dude is genuinely a can crusher. I checked his Tapology, bro. This dude has been fighting people that's like 0-1, 0-4, 2-6, 2-3. I think he's only faced a couple like actually in this seasoned fighters that are like 7-4. He has like a guy that fought is like 7-4. I think he fought somebody that's like 12-5. Richie Miranda is coming off 3 title wins in a row in LFA, and his most recent defense, I kid you not, is an 0-0 fighter, now 0-1 fighter from Israel. In Shalom we trust, my brother. If your last win is an 0-0 fighter immediately getting a title shot in the amateurs or I guess the pro circuit, listen, that's no credibility. Richie Miranda is a very slow starting fighter. He actually like kind of plays that range very well. He's a sloppy striker. I'm gonna be serious. He's not this calculated ripping shots. You know, he's sloppy. He knows how to play his jab very well. He knows how to play the clinch very well. He's kind of just like, at most, he's okay. Like, I think he's okay. You know, at the most I see him doing is probably like maybe a win-loss fighter, probably more loss than winning fighter in the UFC. I don't really see much, like, compared to Manuel Souza, who's actually faced level of competition. Like, let's be serious. Manuel Souza knocked out Mauricio Hufi, and I'm pretty sure that was like Mauricio Hufi's second fight, maybe in MMA. I could be wrong, but regardless, obviously he probably won't knock out Hufi nowadays, but Hufi is a very credible win, guys. I mean, like, let's be serious. Like, even in Manuel Souza's most recent win, or one of his most recent wins, he faced Balaji Oki, who is literally a win-loss fighter, honestly a loss fighter. But I think Balaji Oki would probably beat Richie Miranda. You know what I'm saying? Like, Balaji Oki's okay. Like, at most, he's like, all right. He's like, okay, right? So I think an okay fighter and that's already in the UFC probably would beat Richie Miranda. So I just say that to say, like, Richie is too slow. He's too plotty. He almost tips over himself. Even when he looks like he's having success, it's like, it doesn't seem like impressive, you know what I'm saying? He has a couple, I think he has a couple finishes, couple subs, whatever. But like I said, like, I just can't give much credibility. Manuel Souza has knocked out a lot of people on his record. He has 2 finishes. He has I believe, a rear naked choke or like an arm triangle and a Kimura, which, like, when you start thinking of these like rookie level, like Kimura's kind of like complex sub or something, but like rear naked chokes, those type of subs are like anybody can get that off. A ghillie, a rear naked choke, or arm triangle, those types of subs are like super like broad. Anybody can get those off. But I say that to say, like, Manuel Souza is a very explosive striker. He has the shorter reach advantage, like, he has a disadvantage in the reach in his fight by 4 inches. But I think he knows how to gauge the distance. Like, I think he knows how to close in very, very well. Like, if you notice in his knock, especially in his finisher sequence, like, he's taking these like explosive steps in and generating power. Like, if you see what he did to Hufi, and I know I keep bringing that up, of course it was years ago, but like I said, that's a very credible win. Even in his UFC wins, like in his Dana White Contender Series, like, he's literally starching these people cold, like out, like slumping these people. This dude is a crazy explosive striker, crazy knockout power. He knows how to close the distance very well. He knows how to stay close and generate that power, you know what I'm saying? But he's also very like shelled up. And another thing about Manuel Souza is he also has like very explosive shots. If he's gonna blast W or like kind of like look for maybe a high crotch or a good clinch takedown, he's not looking to sub you. He could find it, but he has disgusting ground and pound. I mean, he just just wails off on people, and people shell up him. I mean, I've literally seen like 2-3 fights where he hits people cold and they just shell up immediately. That is something that Richie Miranda has never seen in his career. If you're facing 0-2 fighters, 0-3 fighters, 2-6 fighters, 7-4 fighters that are not even like explosive power, somebody who's gonna walk you down and present that power to you is immediately gonna be a threat and impose their will on you. I mean, like, Richie is not even defensively sound. Like I said, this dude's a blob. Guys, this should be a pretty one-sided matchup to me. I mean, I see this going like and I'm gonna give Richie the benefit of the doubt. He could play his range a little well, but in his fights, I see him moving forward. You have the range in this fight. Of course, you're the same height, but you have the range in this fight. If Richie's gonna do anything, he's gonna have to play the range. But like I said, man, Manuel Souza just closes that range. He gets close. He's gritty. He's explosive. He has power. Honestly, guys, I see this being a one-sided snowballing type of fight. Or honestly, I could just see this as Manuel Souza immediately posing his will. Richie basically seeing something he's never experienced before. If you're can crushing I think he only has one loss. He has one loss on his record. If you're can crushing, guys, you're gonna have this, like, I guess, false sense of confidence. Oh, I've been beating these dudes. I'm riding this 3-fight title wins, brother. Your last title fights, I think the dudes are combined maybe like 4 and like 10. So no credibility for Richie Miranda. I could see success for him at the range, but guys, this is probably going to be a Manuel Souza masterclass, guys. My guaranteed lock and pick for this fight is going to be Manuel Souza. Come on, guys. We've seen this happening. It's going to most likely be around 1 KO. If I'm going to give, I say like later in the round, I give Richie Miranda the benefit of the doubt, say maybe he'd be able to last a little bit, but I just think Manuel's going to be able to close that distance, get close, you know. He's a little shifty, a little explosive, maybe faint, and just, wow. I don't think Richie Miranda ever got hit with something like that, man. Y'all, this should be a pretty easy lock, guys. I'm not going to tell y'all, take my word for it. Based off the research I've seen, this should be a pretty easy round 1 KO. So, y'all, my lock, guaranteed pick and lock is Manuel Souza round 1. All right, y'all. The next fight on this card is going to be taking place in the heavyweight division. All right, y'all. As we can see, we have, oh my fucking days, Louis fucking Sutherland. We got Louis Sutherland versus Henrique da Silva Lopez. And to be honest, guys, I'm not even gonna make this super far-fetched like analysis, just because this is gonna be pretty one-sided, I believe. Henrique da Silva Lopez literally hasn't fought since 2019, and this dude's last win is Johnny Walker in 2016. If y'all ever seen that clip where Johnny Walker got knocked out and he was like this, yeah, that's this dude's only highlight, by the way. All right, and is Johnny Walker a credible win? On some days, right? I mean, some days it's a credible win, but yeah, I mean, this dude has been super inactive. I mean, even then, his fight before 2019 was in 2016. So this dude literally is fighting 5-year stints, 3-year stints, you know, now 7 years, I believe. So yeah, I mean, this dude hasn't fought since 2019. This dude is 41. I mean, he's in heavyweight, you know, heavyweight, like, I guess you can be older in heavyweight just because, I guess, unfortunately, it doesn't really take much skill to be a heavyweight. If you got these, that's all you need, right? You got these, that's all you need, right? So, but I do think Louis Sutherland is just going to come in and be a better overall fighter. I mean, he's a little plotty. He does kind of trip over himself, but on the contrary, I'll say Louis Sutherland is a little athletic, you know, for a heavyweight. I mean, against the Tai Tuivasa, the fucking Tai Tuivasa fight, that was boring, plotty, boring, trash fight, but he actually showed like a little hint of athleticism, you know, and he actually does have a good grappling prowess. I mean, you see the takedown average, he gets over 3 takedowns a fight, you know, or at least tries to. So I think if he's gonna come with a well-rounded game plan, which I believe he is, I mean, guys, yeah, he only has 2 wins in the UFC. I mean, sorry, 1 win in the UFC. First loss was Walter Walker. Second one was, I don't even know. Let's be serious. Nobody's watching Louis Sutherland fight. Nobody cares about that. This dude is boring. And I don't really expect much from this fight. I think it's going to be like a low output pudding from Louis Sutherland. I think he's going to come in, move forward. That's the thing about these heavyweight guys, man. I mean, they just walk forward in a straight line. I mean, the only line of success I could see for Henrique, mind you, this dude only has like 5 fights, you know, so there's not really much footage out there. I mean, I literally try to find his footage. There's like nothing other than that Johnny Walker win. If we're going to gauge his level of talent through the Johnny Walker win, I mean, he moves forward. He seems like a very explosive striker. He has power. Obviously, a lot of these heavyweights have power. I mean, you get hit one time good enough. He could put this dude Louis Sutherland out, but one thing I can say is Louis Sutherland actually could like retain damage like fairly well. I mean, he hasn't been going through no like a marauder blood war type of fight, but you know, in the Tai Tuivasa fight, like, I mean, he did get banged up a couple times, you know, and of course he ended up winning. He ended up doing his thing. He does have like I think he has like a sort of grappling path to victory. Now, I don't think he's going to be pulling out crazy jiu-jitsu exchanges. I don't think we're going to see wrestling scrambles. You know, usually in the heavyweight division, you get one scramble and they gas out. So cardio could be a major like factor in his fight, but we've seen Louis Sutherland like make it to the judges. And just based off, I guess, level of competition, I mean, Tai Tuivasa, I guess nowadays is not necessarily a credible win at all. I mean, Walter Walker, that's a formidable opponent. I mean, this dude's freaking taking everybody's ankles. This dude just got Thomas Peterson, you know. So, yeah, that was a pretty good fight. Let's be serious. Walter Walker's pretty good. And Louis Sutherland showed like a little tiny bit of ankle defense, you know, as far as the ankle to heel hook. But once, like I said, once you get in that position, man, it's like either tap or your ankle's done. But guys, I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. I think Louis Sutherland is just going to be a more well-rounded fighter. He's more active. He just fought not too long ago. He's already fought like 3 fights within a year or so. So I think, honestly, guys, my lock and pick for this fight is going to be heavyweight slop, guys. We got to consider that. Louis Sutherland round 3 decision, guys. Let's be serious, bro. There's no way he's gonna get a finish unless he can get it out there early with some good exchanges, good clinch work, ride out some good pressure with the grappling. I think that's how you can get it done. But yep, Louis Sutherland round 3 decision. All right, guys. The next fight on this card is gonna be taking place in the light heavyweight division. All right, guys, as you can see here, we have DR Nergashe versus Bruno Lopez. And to be honest, there's actually quite like a lot of similarities, not too many differences between these fighters as far as statistics, build, records, weight, height. These dudes are actually pretty similar. So let's get right into it. Now, like I said, guys, this fight is going to be a pretty good fight. I think that we might see a really good back and forth. These fighters have a pretty, like, similar fight style from what they presented in the fights I've seen. Both of them are, like, moving forward type fighters. You know what I'm saying? This dude, Bruno, he's kind of like a marauder type fighter. You know, he just moves forward. He can pick his shots very well. He likes to strike heavily. But he also has a really good sense of, like, clinch and grappling game. So once you start to like figure out his range a little bit, he likes to close the distance, you know, make it close. He likes to overwhelm you. I think he has a really good like sense of knowing when to turn it into a grappling fight. You know what I'm saying? Whereas DR is kind of the same way. Like they're actually very similar, you know. But I think the very telling tale of this fight is going to be the fact that DR's coming in that southpaw stance. He has nasty blasting kicks, like just to the stomach and like midsection. This dude is blasting people with kicks, and you got to think about a lot of people standing orthodox. Their body's open. I mentioned that with these earlier fighters. You come rushing in. You're super susceptible to getting kicked. You're super susceptible to getting them legs chopped. So I think that could be a very telling tale of this fight. Those kicks, they're going to be very beneficial for DR. Like I said, him standing in the southpaw stance, you know, like you got somebody whose left leg is forward, they step up. This is all open right here. You know what I'm saying? You step up, you rush in, you keep getting hit. Now you're forced to switch stances. And one thing is, I'm not sure if Bruno Lopez is comfortable switching his stance. You know what I'm saying? And DR, he actually has a good stance switch. You know, he actually could step in, you know, with the left foot forward or the right foot forward. And I think that right there could be also another telling tale of this matchup. The way you enter this fight, both of these guys have really good, like, clinch entries, you know, getting the hooks, the underhooks, that's important. You know what I'm saying? Controlling whether you have the top hook or the bottom hook, that's pretty telling, especially if you're looking to find a takedown. You're not going to take somebody down if you have the overhook, right? It's going to be very difficult for you to do that. So that point of entry, kind of like already getting in like that, I think that's going to be very beneficial for DR, especially because he has a good trip. He has a good hip throw. Now, Bruno also has a pretty good trip. These fighters are very similar. Like it keeps coming down to like the similarities. I think it just is gonna matter who is like one step ahead. You know, I can honestly see this fight going each ways. I can see Bruno just being a little bit more doggy, making it a little more dirty, you know, just getting in close and throwing some power shots. But I could also see DR kind of like making it more composed, you know, control his grappling a little well. You know, Bruno does have a good sprawl and brawl type fight. But another thing I could say about this fight is Bruno Lopez does have more submissions than DR. And DR's last 2 losses, his only 2 losses have been to submission. Now, I could sit here and say most of Bruno's submissions are like rear naked chokes, arm triangles, ghillie, which, like I said, are basically these starter chokes that my mom could probably jump a ghillie, choke somebody out, you know? So I think that's just going to be a telltale of whether DR puts himself in bad positioning, which I don't believe he will. You know, these dudes are bigger fighters. They're 205ers, but they move pretty well. You know, DR has kind of like more of like a bigger bodied style, as you can see in the picture, but he's not plotty. You know, like surprisingly, he's not plotty. Like I said, the kicks for DR and him coming in that southpaw stance and choosing his entries very well, I think that's going to be very telling. But on the contrary, I could sit here and say Bruno could just sprawl and brawl. You know, he could make it nasty with uppercuts. He could make it nasty with elbows. Guys, this is either going to be very technical and boring, or this is going to be very just back and forth, nasty. I think this fight could be like, although it's not the highest name value, and although this is not like the top tenors of the division, I think this is going to be a very like I said, a very pleasing fight to watch. If you like technicality, it's like I said, it's either going to be a very technical fight or it's going to be a very dirty fight. And I have an eye for both. So honestly, guys, this is a fight I'm a little undecided on. I mean, man, they're both pretty good, similar records. I mean, Bruno has just a couple more fights. I mean, they both face similar. There's like similarity in levels of competition as well. I mean, man, I mean, the fact that Bruno's coming off, I believe, 2 knockouts in a row. I mean, Navajo Sterling just starched this dude. So, man, guys, I'm very undecided. I mean, the grappling and the leg kicks, honestly, guys, I think the kicking and the grappling and just the entries, timing of shots is just going to benefit DR just a little better. So, guys, with that being said, my official lock and pick for this fight is DR Negashai, round 3 decision. Alright, guys, this is going to be the feature fight on the prelims, and it's going to be taking place on the heavyweight division. This is not going to be heavyweight slop. As y'all can see here, we have Steven Asplund and Gamrot Pat. To be honest, guys, I think this is going to be an absolute war. I know there's going to be a lot of back and forth exchanges. Guys, as we can see in the statistics, Gamrot Pat is going to look better everywhere, right? Obviously, maybe in the striking differential, there's a difference, right? But Gamrot on paper is the better fighter. You look at him, you put these 2 dudes together, who you ask a random person who you think is going to win in the fight, and 100% of people are going to say, yeah, Gamrot Pat is going to win. He looks better. He has just better physicality overall, right? Although these dudes have very similar records, under 10 fights each, I think they face kind of like similar levels of competition. I mean, Steven Asplund faced Vitor Petrino, and I think that's like a pretty like formidable opponent, right? Obviously, he's not at the highest like at the top of the division, right? But he's a pretty good like name, a good fighter to go against, and I absolutely believe Vitor Petrino will beat Gamrot Pat, right? Gamrot Pat, he has this karate style. He's kind of just stands wide. He honestly, on paper, like I said, I think this is gonna be one of those fights where Gamrot Pat is gonna just look good until he doesn't. This dude, Steven Asplund, is a marauder. He moves forward in a straight line. He gets his head popped back with jabs, but he just keeps coming. And I think Steven Asplund is absolutely able to wear damage very well. You've seen he went through the war of Vitor Petrino. He got popped in the face so many times with that jab. He got kicked in the leg a lot of times. He just got beat up honestly bad, and he just kept moving forward. This dude's like a zombie. You just can't break him. Like, honestly, like, seriously. We've also seen Asplund lose in the grappling department. You know, Denzel Freeman, he did use grappling primarily to win that fight, but I don't think we're going to see much of a grappling type matchup. Like, I don't think we're going to see, this is not going to be high level grappling scrambles and crazy double leg, blast double legs. Like, I just don't see that. Like, maybe I could see like some clinch work from Guilherme, but we know Asplund, he wants to make it dirty. He wants to make it nasty. I think Guilherme is going to get some good success. Like, I think the best we're going to see Guilherme is probably first round, maybe early second round. But as this fight goes on, I absolutely favor Steven Asplund. I think just the maraudery, if that's a word, like that complex, I think that ties into this fight. Like, this is those fights where heart is bigger than skill. Because skill-wise, I think Guilherme is way better. I think, he, like I said, he may be more physically imposing. I think he's going to look better. He's going to be like a little more fast twitch than Steven Asplund. But it's like, what do you do with all those skills if you're just getting punched in the face nonstop? Listen, I see Guilherme Pat crumbling, guys. Seriously, unless he can really like hit something crazy. Like, he has good kicks. I think he's, like I said, he's a twitchy fighter, so he might have some explosiveness early on. But as we know about these heavyweights, they slow down. Steven Asplund was in 14 minutes deep waters, and he was still throwing shots, punching, kicking, throwing everything, throwing the kitchen sink, everything he had at Vitor Petrino. Of course, he wasn't successful in that bout, but that bout right there, like, I liked Steven Asplund before, especially in his Contender Series fight, I'm pretty sure it was. Or not, no, it was actually his first fight against Shafar, I believe his name is. I could be saying his name wrong, but dude, this dude just moves forward. His head is, he doesn't move like, bro, Steven Asplund is on the center line. He's moving forward. He's kind of just, he's literally like this, you know? And it's like, you have somebody coming at you, just popping you. Somebody like Guilherme, he's going to crumble. I don't think he's going to be, like, I don't think he's going to be able to fight moving backwards, you know? And I can't sit here and say Guilherme Pat's going to be like a great, looking for the great counter hook. Steven Asplund is very susceptible to a clean counter hook. I'm telling you, this dude moves forward. He doesn't take his head off the center line. He's not coming in at an angle. He's very easy to predict. You got somebody who's walking forward straight at you. It's one of those things like, what do you do to stop it? You know what I'm saying? Guys, I think this could be potentially one-sided. I mean, I think early on in the fight, it's going to be some good exchanges, like as far as just striking, maybe some good kicks from each side, probably more Guilherme than Steven Asplund, but I think this is just going to be a regular old marauder versus technician. And in this fight, I got to favor the marauder, guys. With that being said, my lock and pick for this fight is Steven Asplund, round 3 TKO, guys. I think he's going to find the finish. I think he's just going to continue to overwhelm Guilherme Pat with the pressure, make him move backwards. I don't see Guilherme Pat finding success after round 2. I think Steven Asplund just snowballs damage. Guys, round 3 TKO, Steven Asplund. All right, guys, as you can see here, we have Billy Ray Goff versus Ty Miller. And guys, I don't want to say too much about this one, but I do think this is definitely going to be a fight that ends in a finish. Now, as you guys can see here, based off the statistics, Ty Miller is going to be the bigger fighter coming into this fight. He obviously is a couple inches taller. He has just slightly a little bit more reach, and he's just a little bit younger. So, that being said, I think Ty Miller is just going to have just a little tiny bit of an advantage in this fight. Now, what I see in this matchup is Billy Ray Goff. He's a very just, I don't want to overplay the word marauder, but he's a very like just nasty, forward heavy, a very forward heavy striking type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? He likes to throw crazy. He likes to throw like blind shots, not telegraph shots. He likes to go in, make it nasty. One thing I've seen about Billy Ray Goff is he likes to not run, but crash in with his hands down. He likes to go in, and he likes to throw these looping shots, and he likes to get close, and he really likes to throw these just nasty shots and make it dirty. You know what I'm saying? In his fight against Trey Waters, he did lose that fight, but he had some like early success, just, you know, spam hook. And in that same exchange, he got clipped, you know, but in that very same exchange, he showed a great ability, able to get out of Gilly immediately, break the clinch, you know, get that space back, and just get right back on it, you know, jump right back on that horse. Now, where I see this being like beneficial for Ty Miller is more of like a boxing style type of fighter. He's very precise. He's going to be the longer, lanky fighter, and I do think he's going to be able to play his range very well in this matchup. I think Billy Ray Goff is just going to be moving forward, and yeah, he's a little twitchy, but, you know, he kind of doesn't necessarily move his head off the line. You know, he may move his body off the line, right? But if you see Billy Ray Goff in a straight line, he's always there, you know? So he's always open for a jab. He's always open for a counter hook. And I really do believe Ty Miller is absolutely going to be able to time a really good right hook, you know? I think closing out, I think we're going to see Billy Ray Goff just come in, try to blitz, make it dirty, like I said. Ty has nasty elbows as well. I mean, I could see just a nasty lead elbow, you know, side elbow. Like, I could just see, like, or even just like a good stuffing elbow, you know? Like, it's not going to be one of these, maybe one of these, you know what I'm saying? Where you just, oh, man, that's nasty. But, dude, I think Billy Ray Goff is definitely going to walk into something bad in this fight. I think Ty Miller is going to be able to find his range very well. I mean, like I said, he is, I mean, for welterweight, he's pretty tall. I mean, 6'2", he's not the tallest, right? I mean, there's dudes like Ian Gary, who is very tall. There's dudes like Michael Venom Page, who's very tall, right? And maybe they're just like an inch or two taller, right? But still, that's pretty big. There's even dudes like Michael Morales who are like more full out, right? So he's not this big, imposing, physically imposing fighter, right? Give me a second, guys. I'm getting some water. Right, so with that being said, him being a boxing style fighter, he has earlier on, I've seen him struggle with some leg kicks, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I feel like that could be a tell of this matchup. Now, Ty Miller said he's doing better against leg kicks. He said he's ready to check heavy leg kicks. He said he's ready to get anybody who's throwing leg kicks. So with that being said, I think Billy Ray Goff is not going to be able to find something unless he's able to clip Ty clean, which I don't think Ty is going to get clipped. He's undefeated. His only like difference of a fight is a draw. You know what I'm saying? So he hasn't even faced adversity in the sense that this dude has lost. He hasn't even tasted defeat yet, you know? And I don't like to say it, like, you know how I am about these guys who have undefeated records, and they may not have as much credibility in their wins just because the level of competition they faced before the UFC, guys, you get me, right? But Ty Miller knocked out Adam Fugit, whatever this dude's name is, right? Of course, that's not a top 10er of the division. It's not a top 5er or nothing, but like, that's still like a pretty like crafty win for like a debuting second, like sophomore fight type fighter. You get what I'm saying, guys? So it's like you got somebody who's very calculated. And this is kind of like the opposite of the Steven Asplin fight in Guillermo Pat, where I think the Marauder is going to be able to find something. Now, do I absolutely see the possibility of Billy Ray Goff blitzing in? You know, maybe we see some good head movement, you know? Maybe we literally see some good head movement. He's not too much on the center line. He maybe is able to, like, take some hard steps left. Like, listen, guys, this is one thing that I believe could be a really beneficial thing for Billy Ray Goff. If he's able to feint left, feint right, and then take a hard step to the opposite side and find that overhand. So what I'm saying is, guys, if Billy Ray Goff is able to feint left, take a hard step right, and find that hook, I do believe he absolutely could find that chin of Ty Miller. Now, like I said, we haven't seen Ty Miller go through that type of adversity or even be clipped like that, you know? So it could be one of those, like, welcome to the UFC, welcome to the party, you know, type of moments. But it also could be a show-out performance, guys. My guaranteed lock and pick for this fight is Ty Miller second round TKO, guys. I think Billy Ray Goff might be able to weather the storm a little early. You know, I think he might be able to potentially get close. If it's not in the first round, it's definitely going to be in the second round, guys. I think Ty Miller is absolutely going to be able to play his range very well. I think he's going to find a good, nice counter right hook. I give it a counter right hook second round, maybe like 2 minutes. I think Ty Miller probably potentially face a little adversity with somebody being able to close the distance, that, you know, like explosive. But I think he's going to be able to, you know, calculate, you know, work his brain in the weight in the second round, like in the sit down. Sorry, guys. He's going to work things out in the sit down. His coaches will probably tell him, hey, listen, this guy's blitzing. You got to circle out and you got to find that hook. Listen, if Billy Ray does that hard step, all you got to really do is circle out. So, guys, second round TKO, Ty Miller. All right, guys, we're coming up on the last couple of fights on this event. The next fight is going to be taking place in the women's strawweight division. All right, guys, as you can see here, we have Alexia Taranara versus Amanda Lemos. And guys, what I think about this fight is it's going to be one of those like passing of the torches type of fight. Like, I genuinely won't be surprised if we see Amanda Lemos retire, maybe like 1 or 2 more fights. She's very late in her career. She's almost 40 years old. So it's one of those things where this doesn't hold much like merit for her. I don't think she's going to be growing as far as getting farther in the division just because how late she is in her career. Now, I could say she does have very reputable wins. She has a win over Mackenzie Dern, who we all know obviously is the champion right now, right? That's a really good win. And she also has a win over Yasmin Lucinda, which is also a pretty good win. But Alexia Taranara is just this grapple heavy fighter. She's very explosive. She knows how to enter very well. Like, she knows how to time her shots where she's like always at an angle with you, where she can trip you, but she could kind of just grit you in the clinch. She could kind of just like take you down. She's kind of one of these mat return heavy fighters, and we've seen Amanda like routinely struggle with these types of fighters. You know, like, she kind of does struggle on the back foot, and we've also like to be fair, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, we've seen her with some better takedown defense and just like better in the scrambles later in her career, right? But nonetheless, she's had very much trouble with these grapple heavy fighters, and that's exactly what Alexia Taranara is. She's looking to out-grit you. She's looking to mat return you. She's looking to just find nasty ground and pound. She has disgusting ground and pound. She only has 1 loss on her record against Bruna Brasil, and she just got it back. You know what I'm saying? She just redeemed herself. So the only person she lost to, they lost to her as well. So it's one of those things where, like, she's almost undefeated. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's no almost in MMA, right? But still, I say that to say, like, she's a really good fighter. She's very explosive. She's very hoppy. You know, she's very dancey. If you guys ever played Brawlhalla, guys, she reminds me of that character that they added not too long ago. I think she got the defeat, and she got 2 guns. Listen, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That literally reminds me of Alexia Taranara. She's this very dancing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Amanda Lemos is a purple belt, so of course she does have the jiu-jitsu prowess, and of course she can present that too. But like I said, she's always struggled with these grapple heavy fighters. You know, having somebody mat return you and weigh on you a lot is very tough. And I do see a path to victory for Amanda Lemos being a finish, but she hasn't had a finish in years. So I don't believe she's going to be able to find a finish, and I don't believe she's going to be able to find a finish where Alexia Taranara is always looking for those hips. You know, she's going to be on the back foot heavy. There's no way she's going to be able to generate power while somebody's like, at this range right here, you're backing up, you're not able to plant power, you know? So unless she's going to be able to, like, back up and throw some crazy, like, you know, just clean, like, Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo type of strike, which I don't believe she is. She does have, like, the power. She is, I guess, in this sense, she has the older man's power, right? The older woman's power, the auntie power, right? But I just think that Alexia Taranara is just going to be too much daunting of an opponent. Like, just having somebody, like I said, weigh you down, mat return you heavy, like, it does take a toll on you. And you being a striker, primarily not having grappling, like, of course having grappling background, but just going through it with the grappling heavy fighter when you're a striker, more or less, I think that's going to dawn upon her, like, I didn't mean to say dawn upon, but, like, I think that's going to weigh upon her very heavily just because she's one of these, like, powerful strikers. If you're not able to generate that power and you're on the back foot, you are basically forced to fight a different fight that you're not wanting to fight, right? Alexia Taranara knows how to instill her game plan. She knows how to make it, I guess you could say nasty, but like nasty in the sense that she's going to disregard your game plan. She's going to make it her fight. She's going to push forward. She's going to make it gritty. Like I said, what I said earlier about one of these fighters entering with those underhooks, that's important, you know, especially trying to get up on somebody close, grit them, hold them. You can get a body lock. You can go over. You can stay under, go over on the other side. You know, you can try to find a hip throw. You can find a trip. And I think she's going to be able to do that. So, guys, with that being said, my prediction for this fight is Alexia Taranara, round 3, ground and pound, guys. I think she's going to be able to find a finish. And honestly, yeah, I just believe she's going to be able to use her grappling to instill her game plan better than Amanda is. Unless Amanda can clip her, which I don't believe she will, I think Alexia can just landslide this one. All right, guys, the last 3 fights on this card. And the next fight is going to be taking place on the featherweight division. All right, guys, as you can see, we have Darren the Damage Elkins versus Yadir Del Valle. Now, guys, this is going to be Darren Elkins' retirement fight, and I want to believe he's going to give it his all. We're going to see the last Marauder Maxson fight of his career, the last slugfest of his career. That's what I want. I believe he's going to want to make it, right? I think he's going to want to make it a bloody bath, right? This dude, Darren Elkins, is an OG. He's been in the UFC for so long. I'm pretty sure this dude fought Charles Oliveira in 2010. 2010, I was 8 years old, guys. So, like, let's look at it like that, right? This dude has been in the UFC for a very long time. He's seen a very lot of styles, like a lot of different styles. He's a very, he's very much like a win-loss fighter. You know, he's seen some peaks, you know, a couple wins back-to-back, you know what I'm saying? He's a pretty good fighter overall. He's just one of those guys that, like, you respect. He's been in the game for so long, like, you just can't, you don't have to love him, but you just can't hate these type of guys. You know, the UFC needs these type of guys where they're not going to reach the pinnacle of the career, but they're just never at the bottom, you know what I'm saying? They're like maybe at the top, like 40, 30, you know, like maybe 50 of the division. I don't even know how much dudes are in the division, but you know what I'm saying? Like, assuming there's maybe 100 guys in the division, right? These top 30, 40ers, you know, like, we need these mid-range guys, you know, just to keep, like, the flow and the pacing of these cards going, you know what I'm saying? Darren Elkins, he's a very bloodbath type of fighter. He's kind of like a Justin Gaethje type of fighter where he just makes it nasty. He has good gillies, you know, those good, like I'm saying, these starter chokes, good gilly, good rear naked choke, good arm triangle. Those are the type of submissions that Darren Elkins could find himself catching, right? Now, on the contrary, Yadir, he's a very grappling heavy fighter. He's a very heavily influencing his grappling prowess in his fighting style. As you can see, like, he had a very unsuccessful bout with Jordan Levitt, which clearly wasn't the best display of his skills, but we've seen him literally look for the takedown. Maybe he's a little one-dimensional, which could, you know, facing somebody who makes it nasty, that could be a very big problem for you to face. You know, somebody who constantly, like, maybe doesn't exactly switch it up, but just keeps coming at you, you know, that could be something difficult, especially somebody who is looking for the grappling prowess and looking at for it to be his path to victory. Now, of course, I do believe that the grappling prowess is going to be the path of victory for Yadir, and I do believe he's going to be able to instill that. Now, Jordan Levitt was able to, like, kind of out physicality Yadir, you know what I'm saying, where it's like you got this kind of like skinny, semi-lanky dude outpowering you, out controlling you. I'm pretty sure this dude was smacking Yadir on the butt. You know, so it's like, yeah, that's a pretty bad loss. Like, I don't want to say Jordan Levitt is a bad loss, because Jordan Levitt is like one of those crafty guys where, like, you doubt him just because he's a little weird and he starts putting you in these tricky bad positions, or he starts, you know, denying your takedowns, or he starts scrambling, and then you start thinking about it like, oh, this shit's real. This is the UFC. You know, these lower guys still have some merit, right? So we need to just stop looking past, oh, he lost to Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt's pretty tricky, guys. He's pretty tricky, all right? Although Paddy Pimblett won, he kind of did show Paddy Pimblett a little, like, a semi-sense of difficulty, which I think that's impressive. You know, of course, Patty still had his way with him and won, but, you know, if you could potentially show a threat to Paddy Pimblett, I'm sure you could absolutely, and I'm sorry, we know we're talking about Jordan Levitt, but if you're facing somebody who can impose a threat to Paddy Pimblett, I'm sure that's a pretty formidable opponent, right? That's a pretty fair level of competition. It's not like a slouch. Basically is what I'm saying. That whole tangent is me saying Jordan Levitt's not a slouch. That's not a bad loss. Yair has a great sense of clinch game. Guys, I've been talking about it this whole video. Underhooks, overhooks. That's important, guys. I know it's something we could brush past. Having arm position and hand position is very essential because, guys, if you overhook somebody, how easy is it for you to control somebody, right? If you overhook somebody, all you can control is weighing somebody down and where their head is at, right? If you have the underhooks, you get to control their body. You get to control where their head ends up because you're putting them in these positions. You're able to get a lift. You're able to weigh them down. You know, you're able to switch to the side. Having those underhooks, that's very essential, especially for somebody who's looking for these entries. Now, I do believe Darren Elkin is going to be moving forward. So I think the entries, especially the clinch, I think getting Darren Elkins to the cage, like back on that cage, is what I think Yair's going to want to do. I think that's going to be a pretty simple thing. I mean, if you got Darren Elkins backing you up, you clinch, you switch. Simple. I know it sounds simple, right? Of course, it could be very difficult if you know, Darren Elkin is coming in, switching stances and not just doing blind stuff, but this dude comes in with his hands down. This dude throws blind kicks. He's very much a brawler. And that does work for him sometimes. Like, I could see Yair just getting clipped. He only has one loss. Yair only has one loss, by the way, to Jordan Levitt, which was a unanimous decision loss. But that being said, I could see Yair getting clipped with something major, like very early. Like, it would have to probably be within the first like 3 minutes or so, very like early on exchanges. I could see Darren Elkins having like very excruciating, like nasty overhooks that just get through the guard or just hit your temple. Yeah, that could happen. But guys, I don't see it. Let's just be serious, guys. That's just my take. If you disagree with me, guys, let me know what you think. But guys, my guarantee lock and pick for this fight is Yair Del Valle. I think it's going to be a round 3 submission, guys. I think he's going to be able to get past the out physicality, get past the out grit, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to find those positions he wants to find. I think he's going to have to fight for it. I don't think Darren Elkins is going to just give position or just open up and guard or none of that. I think he's going to have to grit for that, find that submission, and I do think he's going to be able to find that. I think Darren Elkins is going to be very susceptible in his head placement, his neck placement, getting caught in these positions, getting caught in those. I think that's something we're going to notice. So, guys, Yair Del Valle, submission. Alrighty, guys, we're creeping up on the co-main event of the evening of this card, and it's going to be taking place in the lightweight division. Alrighty, guys, as you can see here, we have Diego Ferreira versus Billy Q. And guys, I'm going to keep this fight very short, very composed. Both of these fighters are over the hedge as far as in terms of their fight career. Both of these fighters are not heading anywhere to the top of their division. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are just like really good scrappy fighters. Billy Q obviously had that fight with Cub Swanson, just war, where he just got battered and beat up, but it was good, Billy Q's a pretty good fighter, guys. I'm not going to take anything from him. I think he's an all-right fighter. I think Diego Ferreira, obviously, him being an older fighter, is obviously going to have a slight disadvantage in this matchup, but he does have slightly more reach, you know what I'm saying? So I think he might be able to play the range as well. Diego Ferreira is a very dangerous striker. He could find a submission, if he gets you in a good position. But to be honest, I think this fight is going to really stand on the feet. I don't see much of a grappling. Like, I don't really see grappling is going to be much invited in this fight. I feel like it's going to be more on feet. I think these dudes want to just go out there and bang it out. I don't know if this is going to be a retirement fight. Like, I know the only retirement fight for sure is the Darren Elkin ones. But, guys, let's just be serious. This fight is cool. It's going to be a good banger. It's going to be a nice back and forth matchup. But obviously there's not much implications for this matchup, guys. I don't think this is going to be like, I don't think we're going to see like flyweight level exchanges. I think we're gonna see some good exchanges, but guys, I think Diego's gonna definitely be able to potentially find that chin of Billy Q, guys. I'm gonna be really serious with you. I think over the course of 15 minutes, Billy Q being very chinny, and Diego can get caught too. Let's not take away from the reality of this fight. Diego could absolutely get clipped too, but just Billy Q being as chinny as he is, and I think sometimes he kind of just steps over his front foot a little bit, and you know, his exchanges just ain't as calculated as I feel like. Diego Ferreira's gonna maybe pick his shots just a little better, just a little bit, you know, and in the fight where you're literally about to be probably on your last fight, being just a little better counts. So guys, my pick for this fight is Diego Ferreira. I think he's going to be able to find that chin round 3. So I'm going to sit here and say round 3 TKO, or maybe he colds him, but I say he probably TKOs him, probably get some good ground and pound, guys. So yep, round 3 Diego Ferreira, guys. All right, guys, give me out some little outside action. But this is the main event of the evening, guys. A freaking good matchup. This is going to be such a good, like, levels are shown in this matchup type of fight, guys, and it's going to be taking place in the lightweight division. Lightweight banger, 155 banger. Love this matchup, guys. Now, guys, this is going to be a back and forth war. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of, like I said, just levels being shown. This is going to be more than just your regular striking match. It's going to be more than just your regular grappling match. Guys, everybody thinks Gamrot Vs Salkilld is this knockout artist, and to be fair, he has a lot of a couple knockouts. To be fair, we've seen him knock out some people, and I think people get cloudy once they see one thing, they forget another. Quillen is a grappler, all right? This dude is a BJJ practitioner, right? This dude is actually really good in scrambles, really looking for submissions. He's really looking for great positioning on you. This dude is more than just the striker that we think he is. Quillen is somebody who is able to show levels in fights, you know? He's able to show different variety, you know? He's not just a striker. He's somebody who has really good scrambles. He has somebody that has really good takedown defense. He has somebody who throws a high rate of takedowns to himself. He's somebody who I believe is absolutely going to be able to keep Gamrot on the back foot. Now, one thing we know about Gamrot is he's pretty chinny, right? And when I say chinny, I don't mean you're going to cold him, right? It's pretty hard to get him out there. But this dude gets knocked down in a lot of his fights. I mean, a majority of the fights he has, he's getting knocked down. He's getting hurt. He's going through some adversity. And we've seen Quillen flourish when he makes his opponent go through adversity. This dude seeks to kill, like, so good. Like, this dude, and he's not one of those dude who puts submission over position. All right? And that's pretty important in this fight, guys. You know why? Because he's one of those people who will wear down on you, throw elbows at you, throw ground strikes. He's somebody who will batter you while you're in a bad position. Gamrot Vs Salkilld doesn't like to waste time with positioning. You know, everybody, like I said, talks about how he's a good striker. He's pretty tall and rangy, and I would say he doesn't use his range to his advantage in times. Sometimes he likes to crash in where I feel like he would be doing a lot better at range. And we've seen him use those head kicks to dust somebody off the map. We've seen him use kicks and these long strikes to gauge the distance, to see when it's an appropriate time to push up. You know what I'm saying? In a fight against Beneil Dariush, right, guys? We know Beneil Dariush is not the most craziest guy, but he's a pretty tricky guy. He's an unk, you know. Of course, he has zero chin, glass chin. Beneil glass chinny Yush. But other than that, he's pretty tricky and he has power. And he did flash knock down Quillen. So, yeah, Quillen has definitely faced people who present power. But what Gamrot is going to present, and what he always presents, is just that, like, relentlessness in the grappling department. He's looking to just take you down, mat return you, mat return you, mat return you. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be something that is going to be very interesting against somebody like Quillen, who himself is looking to chase a takedown, as well as looking to find some clinch work. You know, in a fight where you have somebody taking you down, you either nullify it by having takedown defense, which Quillen has shown pretty good, actually really good takedown defense, or you just scramble with them. You fully embrace the grappling, and you match that grappling prowess with them. Quillen is going to have to be one step ahead of Gamrot in the grappling department, if he wants to find success in that, you know, field of the fight. And do I believe he can find success? Absolutely. Simply because he's good at BJJ, like I've listed. He has this finishing sense. Like he sees the blood in the water, and he has a very good opportunity and a very good sense at capitalizing in those moments. And like I said, somebody who's like a career chinny fighter in Gamrot, who he's getting knocked down by everybody he fights, that's going to be a very big problem for somebody who packs a mean punch and follows up immediately with grappling. Now, I would say that could be to Quillen's demise. You know, if he falls into Gamrot's guard or something, or like, you know, like I said, he potentially looks for maybe submission over position. I could see Gamrot maybe reversing him, you know, get some good like wrestling transitions on him where he ends up grinding out Quillen, you know. I think if Mateusz Gamrot wins, it's probably going to be a decision. But, guys, this is the main event of the evening. Listen, I don't like to just go with the young prospect because he's the young prospect, but I'm really big on Quillen. This dude is freaking good. This dude shows levels. This dude is not just a guy who he's one-dimensional. He's shown us one thing. He's shown us a lot. Go on his Contender Series fight. One of his best display of his fight kit. This dude is super well-rounded. He has the style. He has the fans. He has the power, the knockout ability. I think Quillen is a very well-rounded fighter, and honestly, he called for this fight, and I think he's very confident enough that he called for this. Sorry, guys, my phone got a little hot, but with that being said, Quillen called for this fight. He's the one who was confident enough to say, I want Gamrot, and you know what? I believe him. So with that being said, guys, y'all got to sit here and believe me on this one. Don't take my word for it, but take my word for it, guys. My guaranteed lock and pick for this fight is Quillen Salkilld. Guys, I think he's just going to be able to control that range a little better. I think he's just going to be one step ahead of Gamrot. Guys, I think he's going to be able to find a finish later in the fight. We've seen Quillen be able to go last in fights, not even look like he's gassing out. I think he'll find a good head kick. I'm not just saying that because he has a head kick knockout. I say that to say I think later in the fight, after we've seen both of these fighters present what they're going to present, I think the striking will be the difference. And I don't think Gamrot is necessarily a bad striker, but I just do believe Quillen is a better striker. So guys, that's gonna wrap up this card. I know it wasn't a lot of name value. I know I missed y'all boys last week, man. That UFC Serbia was a fucking smacker. I'm so disappointed I didn't make a video for that, guys. Like I told you, I won't make that happen again. That was the end of this one, man. I love y'all boys so much, bro. That was K-Side Cash, man. I'm out.